David Menzies for Rebel News here in Toronto. And folks, before I get to the story du jour, if you can, please visit journalistdefensefund.com. If you're able to, make a donation, because as you know, we love to bring you the other side of the story, but there are forces afoot that want to prevent us from doing so, sometimes even violently. So on certain assignments, we need bodyguards to ensure the safety of our reporters and cameramen. So once again, journalistdefensefund.com. Well, I'm here with Ben Bankus. He's a professional stand-up comedian in Toronto, and I'm at Christie Pitts. And here's the story, folks. It seems that if you get together in a bit of a group to take in comedy, the state will come down on you severely. However, if you're marching as a member of the demonstration du jour is Black Lives Matter, well, you're immune from law enforcement. Just wait till you hear Ben's story. Okay, well, Ben, I'm with you here in Christie Pitts. This is normally where the baseball Toronto Maple Leafs play, and so that's a park that's used to congregations of many people. And Christie Pitts riots, yeah, that's a part of Toronto history. And you have been engaged in doing stand-up comedy here, but it looks like that is not going to continue. At one of your recent concerts, Bylaw paid a visit, and then what happened?
Well, we've been doing it for 8 weeks. The second week, Bylaw did visit us. We got a little bit of a fine. They left us alone for the most part, but they did give us a fine for a couple grand. So that wasn't cool. But since then, they've left us alone. They came 2 weeks ago to a show. We don't do it in the same location, but they came 2 weeks ago and didn't fine us. A couple cops came and checked it out. They didn't do anything. The last show, we had some bike cops bike past the hill, but they also didn't do anything. So it's, as much as they gave us a hard time that one time, they've kind of left us alone. So we've been grateful for that. Everybody was social distanced on the hill, and we provided garbage bags and sanitizer to make sure that the community was being cleaned up and that, we're not doing something incorrectly necessarily. People enjoyed themselves. They were happy to be here. And I think the law enforcement knew that, and they've kind of left us alone because it is such a happy, positive event where people from all different backgrounds are making jokes about each other and themselves and the audience, and everybody gets along. So.
Well, I find this fascinating. You say that people were socially distancing, so I guess they were sitting 2 meters apart from one another. And you're outdoors, so the air is circulating. 150 people in an outdoor park, that's wrong in the eyes of these bylaw officers, yet we could drive a few clicks to a local Walmart, and I'm sure there's 150 people at least in an enclosed facility. I don't get it. Can you connect these dots for me?
No, well, I think, it's a bit of a surprise for the law enforcement to see a comedy show. It's something new for them to deal with. But I think one of the bigger stories is that, one of the shows we had, not at this location, we had two people who identified as being members of CBC Comedy come to the show.
See, now, is that the punchline, CBC Comedy?
Pretty much. I mean, there's definitely a bit of a war on comedy I see. I see with CBC, CTV, the types of comics they put on. Not that they're all bad, but I don't think it's anybody who's doing anything a little bit risque, a little bit dangerous. And I think that's what crowds really want to see. That's what crowds react to. And they want to laugh at, taboos. I think they come by and check out the show. They have a few laughs. They see that everybody's having a good time, is socially distanced, is being very peaceful, and they leave.
So this was obviously beyond humiliating for the bylaw officers. The muscle that they called in instead hung around and enjoyed the show, Ben. Now, the only, bittersweet taste to this story is the fact that here you are with a $2,000 worth of fines bill. Can you tell us what you're doing about that? Are you going to fight it in court? Are you going to crowdfund to raise money to pay the bill? Because that's a significant amount of change for a stand-up comedian, $2,000.
I think we've raised almost $3,000, and we don't know if we're going to pay it or not yet. We're waiting till the courts even open up. and we're gonna see if we can get in a queue and fight the ticket.
I would fight that ticket, Ben. I think the vast majority of these tickets are going to get thrown out of court. Exit question. The days of the comedy concerts at Christie Pitts are over, but I understand this Friday you are resuming the outdoor comedy club shtick, and it's going to be, I mean, have you revealed where the facility is yet, or how could people in the Toronto area go attend your outdoor comedy club?
For sure. So we do it as a secret event. It's kind of close by to this location, but we do it as a secret event. You can go to @BenBankus on Instagram, send me a direct message with your email, and I'll just simply tell you the address and the location. And yeah, it's gonna be a really great show.
Can you imagine? You can smoke marijuana out openly in the streets of Toronto, but you got to do a wink, wink, nudge, nudge secret notification for a comedy show. And one final thing, Ben, it should be noted, the reason you're doing this, it's not just to stay sharp and to give Torontonians, a couple of hours of escape from these troubled times we live in, but you are trying to send a message to the provincial government to, hey, open up the comedy clubs so you can get back to a proper venue and entertain people, correct?
For sure. We started doing it as a protest, so it is called the Freedom of Comedy Protest, and we're doing it in the hopes to open up all comedy venues, clubs, shows for all comics to be able to perform. And we also stand for comedians having the right to perform uncensored, unfiltered stand-up comedy and not necessarily be held to some standard of political correctness that I think takes away from humor big time.
What a concept, and I can almost hear our audience cheering as you say those very words. Ben, thank you so much for making time for us, and if I can make it, I'll come out to the Friday show, and hopefully I can get my mind off the ongoing madness that is the year 2020.
We'll have a couple good ones for you.
Okay. Thanks so much, Ben.
Cheers. Thanks, man.
Well, folks, bringing you the other side of the story does not come cheap. Sometimes we need security in order to bring you the other side of the story because there are forces afoot that don't want us to bring you the other side of the story. If you can, please go to journalistdefensefund.com. That's journalistdefensefund.com and make a donation.